Hello everyone and welcome. So I'm all sure that you've seen the news that The Walking Dead is going to end after an extended season 11, and of course I couldn't let that news go by without sharing my quick thoughts on this news. So first off I have to say I was quite shocked that it was announced that The Walking Dead was ending, especially after we've had two very good seasons that have been critically well received. And also, Scott Gimple's been coming out and saying to various news agents and online websites that The Walking Dead will continue forever with original stories and all of this blah blah blah. He's been saying that for ages. And I kind of assumed that what that meant was when The Walking Dead sort of catches up to where the comics finish, that they would just carry on with more original stories and keep The Walking Dead going forever. But it turns out, I guess what he actually meant was The Walking Dead will continue on, but just in forms of spin-offs and different shows and stuff like that. So I certainly expected The Walking Dead to keep going. Personally, I thought we were going to get to sort of season 13 or 14. I know the Commonwealth arc in the comics isn't that long. There's not a lot to it. There's not like any major battles or anything like that as far as I remember. It's been a while since I read it. So yeah, I kind of thought that they would have that new story about this new community and kind of have that intersected, is that a word? I think so, with sort of new original storylines as well, so to sort of pad it out a bit. Now I've had a bit more time to reflect. I don't think it's as shocking as I initially thought, because we do have 6 more episodes in this extended season, and I think season 11 is going to have 24 episodes, so that's 30 episodes, and seeing as we have 16 a season anyway, that means we're basically getting 2 more seasons, albeit it's just being sort of put into one. Of course, I'm a bit upset that it's finishing because this show has been a huge part of my life. It's what my YouTube channel is about, The Walking Dead. But I think it's probably the right decision. The show never recovered from the All Out War saga. It's lost so many viewers, and I think it's probably a good point to end the show at season 11, because I'm hoping if season 11 is good, then you're kind of finishing the show on the back of 3 good seasons, and this will mean if anyone else wants to watch The Walking Dead in the future, or people who have given up with the show during the Negan arc and go back to it, all they have to do is kind of muddle through sort of 2 or 3, 2.5, 3 average sort of seasons to get to the good stuff. So it means the majority of the show is good, and it's not going to be stretched out even further and not going to have more issues with its quality, because I think that if they did extend the show even further and put in original story arcs, then it wouldn't be really good. It wouldn't be very good, because the majority of the original story arcs that we've had on the show, let's be honest, have been a bit shit. The Grady Memorial arc was pretty bad. Recently started going through The Walking Dead again with my new girlfriend, and we just got to season 4 episode 6, and that means we've had to spend 5 episodes going through the flu arc, which I completely forgot it was that long. And fuck me, it's really boring, so that's not a good story arc either. The wolves, for me, were the worst villains on the show. I hated everything about them, and of course they were another original idea. I would have worried if The Walking Dead had continued for sort of 4 or 5 seasons and introduced new stories and new things that weren't in the source material, because they don't have a good track record of that. And of course, how could I forget about Jadis and her group? They were original as well, and bloody hell, they were shocking. So probably a good thing that it's just gonna be another season which hopefully just follows the source material and adds in a few tweaks here and there, because when they kind of tweak the source material, it does work. It works a lot better than the original creations. Think about Gareth and his group. They were obviously a twist on the cannibals in the comics, and they were fantastic. I still think Gareth is one of the best villains on the show, despite only being in it for 3 or 4 episodes. He's just amazingly eerie and creepy. And yeah, I don't think that The Walking Dead has good enough writers to extend the show indefinitely with original stories. Despite how good Angela Kang is, I still don't see it being good in terms of quality if it just carries on with original stories. So it's probably a good thing that the show's ending and that it's going to end with the sort of end of the source material. So of course, with this announcement, we also got news of another Walking Dead spin-off show. And it's kind of ridiculous how many there are now, but this spin-off show will be featuring Carol and Daryl, and I imagine it will be set after the show as opposed to sort of during the time when the time skip when Judith grew up. So what that means is basically Carol and Daryl are alive to the end of the show, which I kind of think everyone knew that anyway. I've been critical in the past of AMC announcing characters leaving and announcing characters' last episodes and things that are going to happen before it does actually happen. So a lot of people saying, oh, they shouldn't have done that because it means that we all know Carol and Daryl will make it out alive. But come on, they were never dying, were they? I mean, Daryl is the main character of the show now. He signed a multi-million-pound contract, and I think Kirkman has said that Carol is his favourite character. He loves her transformation, and I think we all knew they weren't going to die anyway. I have never really felt any danger towards these characters when they do get in trouble, so I don't really care that we've been spoiled by us knowing they're going to live to the end of the series, because I always thought that anyway. In terms of this spin-off though, I imagine what this will mean is that Daryl and Carol take off and leave and go somewhere else at the end of the show, because if they were to stay at the Commonwealth or Alexandria, or wherever it is they settle at the end, then it wouldn't be a spin-off because they would still be with the rest of the characters on the main show. So for it to be a spin-off, they have to leave and sort of be on their own and have new characters and new things happen to them. Otherwise it would still be The Walking Dead if they were surrounded by everyone who was already there. Yeah, I think this means they're going to shoot off and go on their own somewhere, which I'm not really sure about, because I always hoped that Daryl would end up with Connie. She's sort of the only woman who I've seen him have a romantic connection with since the start of the show. This might either mean that she dies, which I hope not because I really like her character, or this might mean that her and Daryl don't get together. Maybe the thing that fans have been crying out for, or a certain set of fans since the start of the show, Daryl and Carol will finally get together and be lovers and ride off into the sunset, which I don't like the idea of, because I still see them as friends. I don't see a romantic connection between them. They certainly have flirted with each other throughout the show, and again, like I said, I'm watching the show again and I haven't noticed that, especially the prison arc. They make sort of jokes and flirt with each other and stuff like that, but I and my female friends will occasionally flirt and joke and make stuff like that, but it doesn't mean there's ever been anything romantic between us. It's just what certain men and women do with each other, certain men and women who are friends, and yeah, I just think these two are friends, so I'm hoping that this doesn't mean that they go off together as lovers onto their own little journey. I'm hoping that they still remain friends and they go off and do whatever it is they have to do. But again, I'm kind of a bit, I don't know, I've got kind of mixed feelings about this because I like them both as characters, but I'm not sure if I want to see Daryl leave Connie behind and, go off with Carol. So we'll see what happens, but I mean, I'll definitely watch it. And I think AMC no viewers will, because it has them two as main characters, and it might sort of be good for previous fans of the show who did give up with it, who like these two characters, because if they weren't a fan of The Walking Dead in the last 4 or 5 whatever seasons, then it means that placing these two in a new environment means the chance to start over again. So it might attract new viewers who were kind of tired with some of the bullshit or what they saw as bullshit on The Walking Dead. So, I mean, personally, for me, I think it's good, because as a Walking Dead content creator, I need more stuff to talk about, so it's kind of pleasing for me that we have more programs going forward, because otherwise what the hell would I talk about? So mixed feelings about this series, but of course I will watch it and I will talk about it on my channel when it finally releases. So the other thing I want to talk about is, with The Walking Dead ending, what the hell does this mean for Fear the Walking Dead? Because surely Fear can't carry on for much longer now. I mean, if The Walking Dead is ending in is it 2 years? I think we're getting the rest of season 10 next year and then season 11 the year after. Surely Fear can't have long left. I mean, the show is a mess. You don't need me to tell you that, but everyone knows my thoughts on it. It's a disaster. The ratings are absolutely terrible, and it's being critically panned as well, not just by me, but by proper critics who have a job, who don't just sit. Well, I do have a job, but I mean, whose job is to criticise things, not just me, who's like a guy who talks to his camera. So yeah, it's a disaster, and surely if AMC felt it was the time to end The Walking Dead, because obviously The Walking Dead has seen a significant drop in viewers since season 7, though still averaging much more than Fear the Walking Dead, then how can Fear continue when it's struggling to get an audience? I think Fear's got to end soon, and it needs to, because they're trying to, they're trying to put in this weird sort of crossover element with the whole helicopter group. Their intentions are to cross that over with Rick's movie, I guess, and The Walking Dead, and they need to hurry up with that, otherwise it's going to get cancelled before it even gets to that point. So I see Fear having 1 or 2 seasons I think we'll have another one after this season. So yeah, I see it having 2 seasons maximum before it finishes, and perhaps we will see characters from that show come over to the last extended season of The Walking Dead, because I definitely think that Morgan will return to The Walking Dead at some point, and perhaps we'll see Dwight come back over as well. I'm sure Dwight plays a big role in the Commonwealth arc in the comics, actually. So comic spoilers, but if I'm not mistaken, I think he dies. Doesn't he try and go against Rick or something? But anyway, he has a big part to play, so might return with Morgan in the last season. But yeah, I don't think Fear will be around for much longer. If they're going to cancel The Walking Dead, which has much better ratings than Fear, then I think Fear is pretty screwed. So that's good. That means I only have to review Fear for 2 more years. 2 more years of reviewing Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, I know I said that was the last thing, but Rick Grimes movies. A lot of people have said that they might now be incorporated into the final season rather than being standalone releases. I know we've had a lot of trouble with them, sort of, because they were planned as a trilogy, weren't they? And then it got pushed back to 2 movies, and they were originally planned to be in theatres, and now they're going to be on telly, and it seems like a bit of a nightmare surrounding these movies, so perhaps they will just be incorporated into the extended season, which personally I wouldn't mind anyway. I wasn't a huge fan of having these separate movies, especially having them released at cinema and whatnot. I think that was a bit weird, a bit of a cash grab, so I think it would make sense to incorporate them into last season and obviously have Rick return. I know Andrew Lincoln had enough with The Walking Dead and sort of had enough of filming a long way away from England, but I think surely he's got to return. If it's only for 1 season, for last season, he has to come back in some capacity. So I think we'll see him return as well. So obviously, you know, it was a bit of a shock to see this announced, especially, like I said, after seeing Scott Gimple waffle on about how The Walking Dead, will continue forever and all of that kind of stuff. But I mean, I guess it will in some capacity with all these other different spin-off shows. But yeah, certainly shocking. But now I think about it, we still do have 2 more years of the main show anyway, and hopefully it can end on a high note. Hopefully, if it continues the way it has been under Angela Kang, then The Walking Dead will be the show which just has a sort of minor blip in the middle seasons, and then either side of that, it's a good quality show, and I think it's the right decision. I mean, how many shows nowadays go to 11 seasons? Pretty much every show that's on Netflix nowadays gets a sort of 3 or 4 season order, and that's it. You very rarely see a show go this long anyway, because to be honest, most people will lose interest. Even if the show is good quality, most people lose interest in a show after it has 5 or 6 seasons, because they just get bored of what they see as sort of rehashing of storylines, or bored of the story. And it's quite intimidating to new viewers to come in and watch a show from the start that has so many seasons, because I mean, for example, I've seen shows that people tell me are good, and then I look at it and it's like, oh, so I have to start the show from the beginning, and it's got 8 seasons of like 20 episodes, and I'm just like, nah, I don't have time for that, I'm not doing it. Whereas if you give me a show that has 3 or 4 seasons of 8 episodes, I'm like, yeah, I can do that, I can binge through that. But if it's, a much longer show, I just think I can't be bothered. I cannot be bothered with that. So I think that's another reason why shows these days tend not to go on for too long, because they know when it does finish, people just won't watch it because it's too much of an investment. Yeah, I kind of think The Walking Dead had a good run. The main show certainly had a good run. I am surprised that we actually will manage to get to the end of the comics, because there are a lot of shows based on comics and source material that have to cancel and never get to the end. So the fact that we've had this show that will now be able to cover 193 issues of a comic series, and this comic's been around for 15 years, longer than that, and it's been able to cover the entire thing. That's kind of unprecedented. You don't get that a lot. So I think we should all be grateful that The Walking Dead has managed to cover the entirety of the source material. The Walking Dead cash cow doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. AMC and Skybound keep announcing stuff, like even with their games. Like, I mean, I like the Saints and Sinners game, but now there's another VR game coming out this month, I think, and it's based on a TV show, and admittedly it does look quite good. But then, like, on the same sort of week, I saw they announced another game, Bridge Constructor: The Walking Dead. Where the hell did this come from? I mean, I've not played the Bridge Constructor games. I admit that the Portal one does look quite interesting, and I have sort of been waiting for it to go on sale, but when you think of The Walking Dead, you don't think, oh, I want to play a bridge constructing game. It's just like The Walking Dead are now thinking, oh, let's just put The Walking Dead in everything. Let's make as much money as we can. I mean, they've probably been doing that forever, but yeah, they keep doing just random licensed shit, like doing a Magic the Gathering, like, special deck with Walking Dead cards. I mean, admittedly, I'm a guy who likes trading cards. I don't collect Magic cards, but I probably will buy this despite me moaning about it because it's a one-off and it's The Walking Dead. But at the same time, I've sort of looked on the Magic the Gathering forums and boards, and pretty much everyone there who is big time Magic players and collectors are like, why the fuck are we getting the Walking Dead cards? I don't care about the Walking Dead. So yeah, I mean, I'll get it, but I just think the Walking Dead is just still, even after it's been around for what, 10, 11 years, the show, they're just still random shit, random stuff. I don't like, random games, random merchandise. I think The Walking Dead will be around for fucking ever. Which means, unfortunately, if you hate The Walking Dead, I feel sorry for you because you just keeps getting pushed into random shit. So, yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, I've always kind of thought about, in terms of my YouTube channel, what do I do if The Walking Dead finishes? What do I talk about? Do I just start reviewing other shows? But it just seems like I don't have to worry about that for a while because The Walking Dead just keeps being pushed out into different platforms and different things. So it's good if you do like The Walking Dead, if you are a fan. I mean, I can certainly understand it if you hate The Walking Dead and you keep seeing it invading your games or your card games or whatever it is, you're going to get a bit annoyed. For me and for other fans, I think we're quite a lucky fan base because we keep getting products about this. Even when The Walking Dead, even when it's not as popular as it once was, we still keep getting more and more content. So yeah, I mean, your cynic in me says it's obviously a cash grab and that AMC is Skybound are greedy, but at the same time, I like a lot of the Walking Dead games that I play. I like trading cards. I probably will buy the Magic stuff like an absolute dickhead. So for me personally, someone who is a fan, I think it's quite good, despite the fact that I am obviously an idiot for spending my money on shit all the time. But anyway, now I'm going incredibly off topic, as I always tend to do in these videos. So let me know what your thoughts are on The Walking Dead ending. Are you sad? Are you pissed off its ending? Do you, like me, think it's the right decision? Or have you given up on The Walking Dead years ago and couldn't care less? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below, and I shall see you all very soon. Goodbye.